Moving on now to one of my favorite guests on Washington Unplugged. He's been here once before, Jonathan Krohn. He made headlines last year, and he's just 13 years old and received a standing ovation when he spoke at the Washington CPAC conference. That's the conservative group. Well, he's back now, and now he is the author of 2 books to tell us what he's been up to since we last spoke. Well, what have you been up to except writing a book?
Well, I've been traveling all over the country speaking. I'm here in D.C. now, and I've been doing a lot of media appearances, and I've been speaking, as you mentioned, at CPAC, at tea parties, intellectual conferences, and things like that. So I've been doing a lot of stuff.
I mean, this, you're what, 14 or 15?
15 now.
15 now, and this is a real book.
Yeah.
You are a conservative, unabashedly and proud of it. But you have, this is your second book now.
My first national book. This is my first time I've actually been professionally published. Bill Bennett wrote the foreword, Newt Gingrich endorsed it. I got endorsements from Rich Lowry and among others, and Mike Gallagher. So it's, I've been doing a lot recently, and I've also been doing a lot of policy analysis. I've been working a lot on education policy especially, and so I do a lot.
Well, not many 9th graders are doing research on education policy. They're trying to get through the 9th grade, but
Absolutely.
you're managing to get through the 9th grade and doing research. I mean, you are. I will have to say this, and I mean it in the kindest kind of way. You are just an amazing kid.
Thank you.
And how did you get to where you are right now?
Well, when I first got involved in politics at age 9, and the reason I got involved is because I heard people in the media, such as yourself, making these comments about a term called the filibuster in the United States Senate on judicial nominees. And I was like, what is a filibuster? What does that mean? It's just a weird word, and most 9-year-olds don't hear that thrown around in school that often. And so I was like, what is a filibuster? And I began to realize, that only in the United States Senate and only in America do people go to work every day and say, I'm going to filibuster today, or on certain days. And so I started listening to both sides of the aisle and forming my own opinions on other issues. And I began to understand, politics isn't just about people such as yourself who've been in the business for a long time. It's about everybody, because everybody in this country is directly affected by what happens in Washington.
Well, how did you settle so early on being a conservative? I have to say, most people start out as liberals, and then as they grow older, when they have more to conserve, then they seem to become more conservative.
Well,
but you started out as a conservative,
Absolutely.
Or maybe you started out as a liberal when you were about 5.
Yeah, my parents told me that you can be whatever you want. We don't care what ideology you believe in, as long as you're able to defend it. And you can go research, do whatever you want. If you're not able to defend it, we will nail you, and we will make sure that you understand how to defend it. And so I began to do like I said, I did research on lots of different issues. And I began to realize, the values that I have as an individual, and just by looking at issues, conservatism makes more sense to me. And of course, people say, once you get your first paycheck and start paying taxes for the first time, you become more conservative. Well, just for those out there who said Jonathan Krohn's never paid a tax check, I paid my first income tax form last year. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So I'm now
royalties off the book.
Well, no, the old book.
The old book.
Yeah, the self-published book, that I came here last time with.
So what is your analysis right now, your take right now on politics in America in 2010?
2010. Well, I think that my take on politics in America right now is that in the conservative movement, it's much stronger than it's been in a very long time. And as you know, things like this come and go in ideologies. Ideologies fluctuate, they get stronger, they get weaker. But I think right now the conservative movement's at a peak, just like it was in the 1980s revolution with Ronald Reagan, and like it was in the midterms in '94 with Newt Gingrich and others. And I think that was I think that that's a great driving force for the Republican Party especially, but also I think for numerous conservatives and independents who are looking for something fresh from the typical liberal left in Washington. I also think at the same time, however, that if conservatives do like Glenn Beck and others have been doing recently, saying that Eric Mesa is a great voice of conservatism, that's not going. Things like that aren't going to work. You got to stay with what works, and that's economic policy, and that's not with supporting people that are under an ethics committee investigation for supposedly sexually harassing a male staffer. So I think the Republican Party, if it stays on its strong footing, which is economic policy and doing things like Mitch Daniels did in Indiana, balancing the budget, lowering taxes, and creating jobs. If the Republican Party can do that and promote those ideas and promote strong policies over the next year, I think that it'll be a strong Republican victory in 2010.
All right. All right, Jonathan, as I said, an amazing kid. You live up to the billing in every way. It's great to have you, and I hope we'll have you again.